Okay, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Reifei Chaylim. Ruvain, it's very good to have you back. Very, very good to have you back.
You said,
yeah,
and you'll take care of it.
Right. I'm taking responsibility. And we welcome. So we thank your wife. We thank Mr. Shannon for Ruvain Shannon being here, and we welcome him. Nuchal Avram, Rich Lenner, Reb Kramer, Gedalia, and Avram Zepkowitz, Berish Gesseman. Wow, we have 8 people here tonight. That's good. Reb Kraus would be here. We would have so we have 9. So we need one more for a minyan. That's really something. That's really my hope, that we should have here soon a minyan every night. Then we'll, steal Beresh's car. He won't be able to go to Muncie. No. It's I have people. I have friends.
Do me a favor.
I have friends. I have, when I used to play paddleball with Big Lou. He says, Rabbi, if you need some muscle, you call me up. Just call up Big Lou. I know that's why Mark stays in Bela Kinwood. He's afraid of Big Lou. Okay. By the way, I did announce over here, and I'll tell it for the scruffy-looking people in the Zoom over here, that you can shave this Friday. This Friday you could shave because Lag BaOmer is Sunday, so you could shave. If it makes no difference one way or another, then I would recommend shaving after Chatzais at 12:56. But if you cannot manage it because it takes you, a couple of hours, so then you could do it in the morning. But if you can, you should wait till Chatzais. No, Avelis rides. Now, there's a different way of saying it. More than saying it, the Avelis overrides it. The covered from the Mama overrides it. No, that's covered for the Mama. Okay. We are dedicated by A.B. Spry and family, for Nachas from the whole family. We are dedicated by Michal Avram, for everybody to learn Shas with Gesund. We welcome David Helfgott, who is joining us now on Kol HaLashon, and it would help if I would start some of these things. I'm getting so wrapped up in the happiness that I have that Ruvain is here, that I didn't start Facebook. Did anybody see a report about the number on the tail of the plane that went down?
What plane was that?
Huh?
Yeah.
What plane was that?
The president of Iran crashed.
That was
Helicopter. 1136.
And is that the number of the people that died on October 7th?
That's what they say.
That's pretty remarkable.
No. Really?
That's pretty remarkable.
Beyond remarkable.
It's pretty remarkable. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Dalia, you saw that also? It's pretty. Are you okay? Well, I mean that's eye-popping information, Gedalia. I'll tell you that much. So I had seen it. I was going to say it by Minchas, but I wanted to check to make sure I wasn't seeing things, and it wasn't fake news. I mean, a lot of these things could be fake news, but I want to corroborate that, because if that's true, that's really Kiddush Shemayim.
What happened to the president? Was he okay, or
he's dead? He's dead. He's dead. It's okay for us.
He doesn't have to do with Hezbollah, does he?
No, he doesn't have to do with Hezbollah, but I was reading about him, is he has the lives.
Nasty.
Yeah, he is a nasty guy. Yeah.
The defense secretary was one too.
Right. Soll sie eingesunken waren. You know. They called him Taka the Butcher of Tehran? Yeah, they did. Yeah. You know, it's interesting that he had a sedate look on his face, you know? He didn't look like the Butcher of Tehran. You know, they called Mengele, Yamach Shemam, the angel of death. That's what they called him. You know, he wore these white gloves. My father, Olav Shalom, crossed Mengele 3 times. He was in 3 selections. Pretty incredible. Okay, everybody is waiting here very patiently. Mark is showing me these nasty looks, you know. Anyway, we welcome in Irving Fishbaum, who is here. He was here when we started Marav already. He's waiting here so patiently, but it's okay. He has such nice scenery behind him. It's if only you could see the scenery. We see the scenery. You don't get to see the scenery. Aaron Swade, Mark Frankel, Michael, Dr. Guy, Baruch Ian, who looks like he's schwitzing there in the heat. The Saba, A.B. Spry, Yitzi Fuchs, that's Menachem Yamansky, Stephen Holtzman, Naftali Javelin, Nachman Chapler, Moshe Lehman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, who was also here very early, Ilya Shutman, Shelley Zeitlin, Yitzi Muller, Nachman Chapler, so I don't know who the person is behind the iPhone. Maybe it's Eddie, or maybe it's Itchy. Somebody over there is incognito. Usually it's Eddie. Who knows where he is? Yesterday he was in Arkansas.
Is anybody parked on the other side of the street? Is anybody here at the Shear parked on the other side of the street? Nobody? Because we're only supposed to park on the side.
You know,
of
it
the
might be Rip Krause. He might not know.
My wife said it's really
On your
congested
side
on
over
both
there.
sides, she said.
Yeah.
They told me that was your side.
Rip Krause, are you parked on the other side of the street?
No, on this side.
On this side. Okay, good. Good. So.
Maybe it's people having company.
Yeah. It doesn't help us, but there's nothing we could do about that. It's probably a bunch of angles. Yeah. Probably a bunch of angles. Anyway, okay. So now that we have everything straightened out over here, and we are starting 7 lines from the bottom of Pei Aleph Amud Beis. 7 lines. Reb Krause, it's amazing to have you. We're putting on fast-acting cement on your chair. That you should be stuck here. Is that all right? Yeah. Now. Yeah. Now. So Hilveyu ala mashkin. Okay. So here's the story. I give Mark a loan of $1,000, and he gives me his gold watch as collateral. So the Mishnah says, I am on that gold watch, I am a shomer socher. I am a paid watchman. So that if his watch is lost or it's stolen, I'm mechuyev to pay. That's the position of our Mishnah. So basically, the Gemara is going to propose that the Mishnah is clearly not like Rebbe Eliezer. Says the Gemara, Lema masnisin the like Rebbe Eliezer. Let's say that our Mishnah is not going like Rebbe Eliezer. The Tanya, Hamalves Chaver Ala Mashkin. If I give Mark $1,000, he gives me his gold watch as collateral. V'oven hamashkin, and I lose the mashkin yeshava. So the din is, I swear, v'yitol ma'isav, and I collect my $1,000, and I'm not responsible for the mashkin. Div Rebbe Eliezer, that's the position of Rebbe Eliezer. Unlike our Mishnah, it seems to be that I would have a din like a shomer chinam, and not responsible for Mark's security. Rabbi Kiva Aimer, Yochel Leimalei, Mark could say to me, look, you gave me the loan, you relied on the watch. Of an mashkin, so if you lost the mashkin, of the mosecha, you lost your money. I mean, and that's, Mark is right. Look, the watch was worth $1,000, so come on. Now here, the question is, if Mark didn't give me the mashkin for collection purposes, then why did I take the mashkin? There is an argument to say that I took the mashkin as proof of the loan, so that Mark shouldn't be able to wiggle. He's a good wiggler. Mark shouldn't be able to wiggle and say, what $1,000? So I take out his watch, and he said, and I say, why do you think I have your watch? Oh, but you won't be able to say that in the case that I already have a promissory note. So says the Gemara, but everybody agrees. If I gave him $1,000 and I'm holding an IOU, a promissory note, and he also gives me a mashkin, divrei hakol, everybody agrees that mashkin was for payment purposes, and therefore of it mashkin, if the mashkin is lost, of the ma'asav, and then I lose my money. Then excuse me, of a mashkin, right? If I lost the mashkin of the ma'asav, I can't claim from Mark the money. So the Gemara says no. Our Mishnah could be going according to Rabbi Eliezer. Afilu teimer Rabbi Eliezer v'loy kasha kan shemishkenoi b'shas halvasai. One is talking about where I took the gold watch from Mark at the time of the halva. Kan shemishkenoi shaloi b'shas halvasai. And one is talking about where I took it from him afterwards. When I was attempting to collect. So Rebbe Eliezer in the Brisa says that if the loan was taken, if the watch was taken at the time of the loan, so here he learns that the purpose of the mashkin was only as a proof that there was such a loan. As a proof that there was such a loan, so I don't have benefit from it, and therefore I don't have concrete benefit from it because it's not for collection purposes. So therefore he holds that I'm only a shemer chinam, and therefore since I'm only a shemer chinam, if it gets lost, I swear and I don't have to pay, or it gets stolen, I swear and I don't have to pay. But if I took it as a mashkin not at the time of halva, then that's an attempt at collection. It's an attempt at collection, so then, since I'm collecting the loan, if I lose it, then I lose the loan. Says Gemara, that would be nice. It would be nice to make such a chiluk, except that's not what it says in the Mishnah. Both the Brisa and the Mishnah says that the halva is at the time that the mashkin was taken, that the gold watch was taken at the time of the halva. Ela loy kasha, kan shel veyu mois, kan shel veyu peiros. This is a chiluk that we explained already in the Mishnah, that if I gave him a loan of $1,000 cash, he's not doing me any favor. And since he's not doing me any favor, the mashkin I'm only a shemer chinam on it. But kan shel veyu peiros, if I gave him a loan of fruit, now remember in those days, without refrigeration, I'm getting a benefit that I lend him the fruit. Because 6 months down the line, he pays me with fresh fruit. Otherwise, a lot of my fruit might have rotted. So therefore, because of that favor, I agreed to be a shemer sacher on the security. Says Gemara, but how could you say that the that we make this chilik in the Tanakama. But V'hamidiktani say for Rabbi Yehuda Hilveil Maya Shemechinam. If you advance money, it's a Shemechinam. Hilveil Paris Shemesachar. That implies that the Tanakama doesn't hold to that chilik. Michlal the Tanakama lo yishanale. There's no difference. So the Gemara says no. Kula Rabbi Yehudi. It's all going according to Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, the Tanakama is Rabbi Yehuda. V'chisurei mechzera, and there's something missing in the Mishnah. V'achi ketani. Hilveu ala mashkin shomer sacher. But when am I a shomer sacher on the mashkin? B'amed v'amum shalveu peiris. Because I get the benefit that when I get it back 6 months later, it's going to be all fresh. Share Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. So it's all the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Share Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, this chilek, Hilveu Mai Shemechinam, Hilveu Peiris Shomer Sacher. Says Gemara, if that's the case, Kama Masnisan like Rabbi Akiva. The Mishnah would come out not like Rabbi Akiva because Rabbi Akiva argues on Rabbi Eliezer. And we always want to say that Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva. Ela machvarta masnisan like Rabbi Eliezer. You're right, our Mishnah that says that I'm a shomer sacher on Mark's watch, it's not like Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer. Says the Gemara, Lema b'deloi shavi mas. Excuse me. Says the Gemara. Let's say that this oh wow, we have a lot of people waiting. Let's get everybody in over here. Okay. As Ruvain Palak has arrived and somebody else has arrived, that Ilya Shutman maybe, and I think Saba is on the way here. Moshe Lehman has arrived. So anyway, let's say this machloikis between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva, is talking about Lema b'deloi shavi mashkin shir zuzeh. Let's say it's talking about where I give Mark $1,000 loan, and he gives me a Timex $36 watch as security, and that's Mark for you. He gives me a Timex $36. He says it's a very good watch. It's very, very accurate, right? He gives me a smart man, Mark, big businessman. So the Gemara says, "Lema b'deloi shavi mashkin shir zuzi, u'b'dishmuel kamiflegi," and they're arguing with the din of Shmuel. Amar Shmuel, Haiman de oisvei alfa zuzei lechavre. I give Mark a loan of $1,000. V'onach lekata de magla ilvayu, and he gives me as a mashkin a handle of a sickle. That might even be worth less than a Timex watch. But he gives me the handle of a sickle as security. Listen to what Shmuel says. And I was foolish enough to accept it. Ovid kata de magla, if I lose the handle of the sickle, Ovid alpha suze, I lost $1,000. That's what Shmuel holds. And Mark, you could hear him giggling all the way in Balak inward. Says the Gemara. So let's say that Rabbi Akiva, who says that I lose I lose the money, he holds like Shmuel. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold like Shmuel. The Gemara says no. Shmuel's halacha is very unlikely. Even the loy shavi mashkin shir zuzi, if the mashkin isn't worth $1,000, it's $36 Timex watch, it's an $18 handle of a sickle, the kuli amaleslu de Shmuel. Nobody holds a Shmuel. V'hacha b'deshavi shir zuzi. Here, the mashkin is a gold watch that's worth $1,000. And here we come to an interesting, famous machloikis that we had in Elu Metzias between Rabbah and Rabbi Yossi. What's the machloikis? What happened was that our good Samaritan a good Samaritan, Yeshua Shmuel finds a Parker pen. And the Parker pen belongs to Dr. Guy. And he loses it. Is Yeshua Shmuel responsible? So if he's a Shai Mechinam, he's not responsible. If he's a Shai Mesacher, he is responsible. So we have, Rabbah says he's a Shai Mechinam. He's not responsible. He's a tzaddikel. He picked up the Parker pen. He was trying to do a mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi says he is responsible because at the time he's involved with the Parker pen, he doesn't have to give an ani money. Because Isa b'mitzvah, pata b'mitzvah. And with that hana that he doesn't have to give the ani money, so he's saving money, therefore he becomes a Shem Esacher, and therefore he's chai. When I gave Mark the loan, I was doing a mitzvah, giving a loan. This week's parsha. I'm doing a mitzvah. I'm doing a mitzvah, and I'm doing the mitzvah, therefore, I'm parted from giving money to an ani. And since at that moment he gave me the security, I become a Shem Esacher. And since I become a Shem Esacher, that's why I'm chayiv. So let's see the Gemara inside. It says the Gemara, "V'hacha b'deshavi shir zuzei." Excuse me, I jumped the gun. I'm so excited about Rabbi and Rav Yosef. I left out Rav Yitzchak. Please excuse me, Rav Yitzchak. Says the Gemara, "V'hacha b'deshavi shir zuzei." I give Mark $1,000 and he gives me his gold watch. V'kamiflagi b'd Rav Yitzchak, and they argue Rav Yitzchak. Dam Rav Yitzchak, minayin l'bal chayv shekoyna mashkin. How do we know that when Mark gives me the gold watch, in the interim period, I acquire the gold watch? How do we know this? Shenemar, because there's a special halacha that if Mark was poor and he gave me a mashkin, his only pair of pajamas, then I have to return him the pajamas in the night so he will have what to sleep in. And it says that when I return it to him, it will be considered for me righteousness that I return it. And so Rabbi Yitzchak says, if I don't acquire it, then why is it considered tzedakah? Tzedakah menale. Oh, if I acquire it, so then, if I acquire it, and while it was by me, I lost it, so then it's my responsibility. So Rabbi Kiva, who says that I lose the money, holds like Rabbi Yitzchak, while Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold like Rabbi Yitzchak. Says the Gemara, wait a second. V'tizbara eimadam Rabbi Yitzchak, that he says about chayvis kind of mashkin memishkan oishaloi b'shas alvasai, where he takes it not during the time of the loan, but rather as a collection when the payment was due. Aval mishkan b'shas alvasai mi amar, does he say it's so even if he takes the mashkin at the time of the loan? Says the Gemara, Ela mishkan oishaloi b'shas alvasai, where I take it not at the time of the loan, but at the time of when it was due. Kuli alma yisluder Rabbi Yitzchak, and everybody would hold that if I lose it, I'm responsible. Here it's talking about where I took the collateral at the time of the loan. As we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig, here it's talking about a Shomer Aveda. The machloikis about Shomer Aveda. Remember we said that if Yeshua Shmuel finds Dr. Guy's Parker pen and loses it, Rabba says Yeshua Shmuel is only an unpaid watchman. So if he loses it, he's not chayiv. Rabbi Yosef says it's like Kishay Misacher. And therefore, if he loses it, since when he's busy with it, he is Isaac B'mitzvah. He's parted from giving money to an ani, so in that schar, he becomes a Shomer Sacher. So, the Gemara says, Leimed Rav Yosef Tanayi, are you going to say that Rav Yosef's position is a machlokes between Tanayim? Says the Gemara, lie. B'Shomer Aveda, by a lost article, the Kul Almi Yisud Rav Yosef. They all hold that Yeshua Shmuel is a Shomer Sacher because during the time he's occupied with it, he doesn't have to give money to a poor person. But b'hacha b'milva tzarich l'mashkin kamifligi. Here we're talking about where I needed to go to a very fancy wedding. And therefore, since I needed to go to a very fancy wedding, I wanted to have a gold watch. So then it's not a situation where it's considered a mitzvah. At least that's what Rebbe Eliezer holds. So Rabbi Kiva says it's still a mitzvah. Ma'asav mitzvah kavod. It's still a mitzvah shelveyu, and therefore Vavi Shomer Sacher. I'm a Shomer Sacher on the gold watch, and therefore if it gets lost, I'm chayiv. Or Ma'asav lav mitzvah kavod. It's not considered a mitzvah because I took it for my benefit that I should have the watch for the chasana, and therefore, I am considered a Shomer Chinam. You know, you could argue and say, well, maybe I should be a Shomer Sacher because I'm benefiting from it at the chasana, but they don't say that. Now, Abba Shalom, by the way, last night we had a pretty nifty chuk, so if you're following the chuk and you didn't get a chance to be here last night, I know we only had 10 people online for the chuk, so it's a very good chuk, the last chuk of Yakel. We are aiming to start the first chuk of Pekudei on Thursday evening, so we are moving along. Abba Shalom, Mutter la'adam lahaskir mashkainai shel ani. Here what happened is that Chatzkel is a poor person. So I give him $1,000 and he gives me as security his snowmobile. So the din is that even without Chatzkel's permission, I could rent out the snowmobile and deduct it from his loan. That was Abba Shol's psak. Abba Shol it's permitted for the lender to rent out the collateral of the poor person, to deduct it from the loan until the money pays up the loan, because he's like a Meshav Aveda, because otherwise what's going to eventually happen is Chatzkel's not going to be able to pay, and he's going to lose the snowmobile. The law is like Abba Shol. However, Abba Shol does not give me, how is it pronounced? Carte blanche? Carte blanche, yeah? Carte blanche. So, some words I'm afraid to say because I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he gives me carte blanche. That, by the way, that's not the same thing as crepe Suzettes. I know that Mark was thinking about it, but that's crepe Suzettes is Polenchinta. And Baruch Ian doesn't know what Polenchinta is, but A.B. Spry does. He's getting ready to have some Polenchinta on Shavuos. Polenchinta, Michal Avram doesn't know what Polenchinta. Polenchinta are blintzes in Hungarian. It's very good, not good. It's very good. If you get lucky, you'll put it in an order for some of my. It brings me back memories to Yeshiva Staten Island. We had a cook, he's not alive anymore. His name was Mr. Yeager. he made by hand 700 palanchinta for the Bachrim on Shavuos. It took him like 3 weeks. Every day he made by hand. And I know he loved my father. My father came before Shavuos. He had a beautiful box packed with 12 homemade cheese and potato blintzes for my father and mother, and the family. It was probably the highlight of his entire year that Ramesha would walk down 2 flights on Shavuos, go into the kitchen, and thank Mr. Yeager for making such delicious blintzes for his Talmidim. Imagine Ramesha came into the kitchen. Now, of course, Mr. Yeager could come up, but Ramesha wanted to go down into the kitchen and thank him for making for the boys the blintzes. And he did it. I remember he did it they were so delicious. They were so, if you were a favorite of his, you got a 3rd blintz. I always got a 3rd blintz. If you're a favorite of his, you got a, if you were a favorite, his neshama should have an aliyah. He loved the boys, Im ein kemach ein Torah. If there's no food, there's no Torah. The yeshiva was always makbid that there should be good food for the boys. Always makbid. I used to sneak down during morning seder. I didn't really eat much of a breakfast. I used to sneak down about 10:30. His soup was ready, and I would have a quick bowl of soup and then run back up to morning seder. But don't tell anybody. Now, the Af Abba Shol like Omar, Abba Shol only gave me license to sell to rent the mashkin of the ani, el b'mara, a hoe, or pasal, or a planing instrument, or a kardim, or an axe. These 3 things have a common denominator. Hoyel v'nofesh agraya, they command a lot of rent, v'zuter p'chat chayu, and their deterioration was very little. So there was really no loss to Chatzkel. He was getting a good profit, which I deducted from the loan, and there wasn't much deterioration, because if there was deterioration, then I would have to ask him first. Okay, now, who's a strong guy? Mark. So Mark is carrying a barrel from one place to another, and he breaks it. So Amavir Chavyas Mamakam Lamakam, if he moves the barrel from one place to another, Ushvara, and he breaks it. Now we're going to see that the Gemara learns that he trips. He trips and he breaks it. Bein Shomer Chinam, Bein Shomer Sachar, whether he was a paid watchman, whether he was an unpaid watchman, or whether he was a paid watchman, Rameir is of the opinion that, because we'll see, we want to learn that a Stam Mishnah is Rameir. I mean, an anonymous opinion in the Mishnah is Rameir. So he holds that Niskal is an Oinus. Now, if Niskal is an Oinus, then even a Shomer Sachar is not chayiv for Oinsim. He's only chayiv for Gneva Vaveda, he's not chayiv for an Oinus. So Yeshava, so Mark swears, look, I tripped. And he doesn't have to pay. Rabbi Eliezer says, Zeh v'zeh Yeshava. It's true that both could swear, but for Tomeya Ani im Yecholim Zeh v'zeh Yeshava. But I'll be amazed if either one could swear and not have to pay. Now, why would he be amazed? The Gemara is going to tell us. So let's see it inside. Tan Rabbanan, Hamav Chavis l'chaveiroi. If Mark moves a barrel, mimakam l'makam ushvara, Bein Shemechinam, Bein Shemesachi Yeshava, Divrei Rameya. Like I told you, usually the anonymous Mishnah, the anonymous opinion in the Mishnah is Rameya. So Rameya says Mark swears and he's exempt. Rabbi Yehuda says a split decision. Shemechinam Yeshava. You see, Rabbi Yehuda holds that that tripping is not an oinus, but it's not a negligence. So, therefore, he says, Shemechinam Yeshava. The Shemechinam could swear, look, he's not negligent, he tripped. But a paid watchman, if he was paid, then Yeshalim, because it can't be considered an oinus. He could have been more careful. Rebbe Eliezer says Zeh v'zeh Yeshava, both swear, but v'tameani, but I'd be amazed, he says that's what I heard from my Rebbeim. I heard from my Rebbeim that they both swear, but v'tameani, I'm amazed, im yechelon Zeh v'zeh Yeshava, if they should be able to swear and not be paid. So what's going on over here? So the first thing the Gemara is surprised, Reb Meir says that even a Shemer Sacher is potter. That means that he holds a niskal, somebody that trips is an inus. So the Gemara says, "Remember the Savar Rameir niskal aprisheyu." Can it be the Rameir holds that tripping is not a negligence? But Tanya, we learned in Masechtas Bava Kama, we had a big sugi about this. Nishbara kadai v'loy silkai. If let's say this happened to Shelley. Let's say his pitcher broke and he didn't remove it. Nafla gamloi, his camel fell, v'loy hamida, and he didn't stand it up. And in the meantime, Gedalia stumbled over it. Rameir mechayev. Rameir is mechayev bezekin. Rameir is mechayev Shelley with the damages. While the Chacham potter medina adam mechayev medina shemayim. And the Gemara in Bava Kama said the argument is whether tripping is considered negligence. So there you see that Rameir who says it's chayiv holds that it's negligence, and here Rameir says that it's an inus, that even a Shemer Sacher is potter. Says, well, you're right. Rabbi Elazar Tavra, it's a difference of opinion. Misha Shanazu, the one who taught our Mishnah, holds Rameir's position is niskal is an inus. And the one who taught it in Bava Kama holds that niskal is taka pesheya. You're right. Now, what's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion? Says the Gemara, v'os Rabbi Yehuda l'meimer. Rabbi Yehuda comes and says, Shaimer chinam yeshava naisisachim mishalim. Why? He holds that it's not an inus, but it's also not negligence. So therefore, v'haiki dine. Shaimer chinam is only chayiv if it's negligence. It's not negligence. On the other hand, it's not an inus. He should have been more careful. So therefore, if he's a Shemer Sacher, he has to pay. Now, what's Rebbe Eliezer? He said, I heard from my teachers that you could swear, but I would be amazed. What's Rebbe Eliezer talking about? Rebbe Eliezer says, look, first of all, I have to tell you, in Gemara Karameya, I have tradition from my Rebbeim, like Rameir. I can't argue. I have that tradition from my Rebbeim, like Rameir, that both, whether he's a Shemer Chinam and even a Shemer Sacher, he's potter. Omio Tomeya Ani Im Yechaylan Zeh v'zeh Lishama. He says, look, Bishleima, and here we'll learn now. He says like this: Bishleima, I could hear you tell me a Shemer Chinam Mishtava D'Loi Pashaba. I could hear that a Shemer Chinam swears that he wasn't negligent. El Shemer Sacher Amay Mishtava. What is he going to swear? Ki Loi Pasha Nami. Even if he wasn't negligent, Shlumei, but he has to pay. You're not going to say that it's an inus. He doesn't buy that it's an inus. And then he says, because remember, he said to Me'ani, I'm amazed about both. Va'afilu shemer chinam nami, ha'teinach b'mekayim madran. I could accept it that that it's not a pshia if he was coming down on a steep area, on a slope. If he was coming on a slope, so there maybe you could say that it's not negligence. But if it's not a slope, if it's a straight area, could he swear that he wasn't negligent? Why are you tripping? You're walking on a level area. Why are you tripping? How could you swear that you couldn't have been more careful?